And we move on to our international segment, viewers. Tracking developments from PoK, which is witnessing a mega showdown. Pakistan's economic crisis and high inflation has resulted in hardship for its people. The Pakistan-occupied Kashmir is witnessing a strike against rising costs of food, fuel and utilities. And with the Shehbaz Sharif government cracking down on the protesters, at least 3 people have lost their lives in the protest. This is not the first time that PoK has erupted, viewers. But right now, the intensity of these protests, the intensity of the outrage, the intensity of the anger amongst the residents of the PoK is only rising and rising, so much so that the Pakistan government had to suspend internet connection last night. And now, with the clashes continuing in Muzaffarabad, 3 people have been killed in firing, with the Shehbaz Sharif government cracking down on the protests, cracking down on this uprising against Islamabad, against his government. So 3 killed in firing in Muzaffarabad. That is the big update we have right now. Remember, there have been multiple calls, SOS calls from the residents of PoK, as there have been protests, and they are, of course, demanding freedom from Pakistan's illegal occupation. And in this international segment, we take a look at some more stories in this quick roundup of our global stories. President Joe Biden, along with Vice President Kamala Harris, welcomed Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders to the White House, where he touted his administration's record and hit his Republican rival Donald Trump over their competing agendas. The 4th week of witness testimony in Donald Trump's hush money was termed as doozy by Michael Cohen, the prosecution's star witness who took the stand. The long-anticipated testimony from Trump's former lawyer and personal fixer followed a breathtaking build-up by prosecutors of a case that ultimately hinged on record-keeping. Trump was accused of falsifying internal business records to cover up the hush money payments that Cohen made as part of efforts to buy and bury stories that might hurt the former president's 2016 campaign. Crews have conducted a controlled demolition to break down the largest remaining span of the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge. The demolition marked a major step in freeing the grounded Dali container ship, and the span landed on the ship's bow after Dali lost power and crashed into one of the big bridge's support columns. And since then, the ship has been stuck amid the wreckage, and Baltimore's bustling port has been closed to most maritime traffic. A curator at the American Museum of Natural History was detained in Istanbul for allegedly attempting to smuggle spider and scorpion samples. Lorenzo Prendini, an expert on arachnids at the New York-based museum, was held by police at Istanbul airport while allegedly trying to take about 1,500 samples out of the country. Video from the airport showed officers searching hand luggage and removing plastic bags that appeared to be packed with dead spiders and scorpions. It was reported that Prendini was detained for allegedly attempting to smuggle species found in Turkey. Even as the Israel-Hamas war continues to rage on, the White House reiterated concerns about Israeli military actions in Gaza using U.S. weapons that could rise to a new generation of anti-American militants. Kazakhstan Supreme Court convicted a former government official of torturing and murdering his wife and sentenced him to 24 years in prison in a case that has gripped the Central Asian nation. During the trial of the accused, Kazakhstan's former economy minister, over the death of his wife, Sultanat Lukyanova, thousands of people urged the authorities to adopt harsher penalties for domestic violence.